This is the Hilda Solis office, huh? About to check it out. The eagle has landed, guys. The big eagle has landed. Justice for debes ordenadas, man. Check it out. Who do? Did you send me in already, bro? Yeah. That's where we at today. This is where we at today. Check it out. This is where we at today.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for everyone who's present and everyone.
Check it out. Got everybody right here.
My name is Hilda Solis, and I'm the interim executive director of the Civilian Oversight Commission.
Here's where you guys gonna see the bootlickers and all, guys.
You guys, we're getting started. So everyone could settle down so we can get started and everyone online is able to hear us.
All these guys right here, all them guys, they work for the sheriffs right there.
To be able to discuss your experiences and thoughts about deputy gangs in the Los Angeles County Sheriff's Department. Today's event is made possible with the support of Supervisor Hilda Solis, who is here with us today.
Where's she at? Where's she at?
Supervisor Solis has been very instrumental over the years in keeping the focus on eradicating
Where's she at?
gangs in the Sheriff's Department. Supervisor Solis, we thank you for being present today, and we thank you for your leadership on the motion to support the 27 recommendations of this commission,
Oh, he boo-boo.
and for your constant
Huh?
pressing on transparency and accountability in the Sheriff's Department. So before we get started today, we'll hear a few words from Supervisor Solis.
Good morning and buenos dias. Thank you for all coming this morning.
That's quote unquote guys, Hilda Solis right there.
Daniela, thank you so much for the introduction. She's our interim executive director of COC, and all of the COC staff that are here. I hope that everyone takes the opportunity to get to meet everybody. That's really essential. I want to especially thank the commissioners.
Yeah, that's
for
Hilda
being
Solis
here,
right there, guys.
because it isn't often that I get to be in the presence of such important people that really do care about our community. And I really would like to ask all of you and to acknowledge our chair, Sean Kennedy. Please give them a round of applause for coming out to East LA. You know, the work that they do is tremendous. And I am proud that we've been able to work alongside with them to come up with recommendations and adopting the recommendations that they made. 27 recommendations that they put forward in March. It says a lot about their commitment. It says a lot about your commitment as well, our community. And it's about eradicating the LA Sheriff's Department of deputy gangs. That's a discussion that today we're going to give opportunity to hear from the families. And I think it's important because I think before COVID, I had an opportunity to talk with some of you, some of the family members, whether it was via virtual meetings or even before we shut down with COVID, seeing some of you in the audience at our Board of Supervisors meeting. We've come a long way. We've come a long way. Our journey has been hard. And I will say this to you, that it is important that we continue on this journey. And it is important that we hear from all of our stakeholders. And that we really get to have those kinds of discussions at the level that really brings community together. That's really been my dream. You know, when I heard about the deputy gangs, that they have existed for over 50 years, I had to scratch my head. Because I was somewhat in disbelief, but then again, not really. I grew up, not in East LA, but in the San Gabriel Valley. And our sheriff's unit out there was industry station. I heard a lot, and I was growing up there and saw a lot of things happen. And I go back to that, the memories that I have growing up as a youngster there, and seeing some things that were occurring there that I see occurring or were occurring here recently. And I know that this happens, and that there is some reality to it.
Yeah, guys, I am gonna go
And
up
I
there and
really
speak
want
up.
to thank our commissioners and the community for helping to shine a light on all of this. Because that's really what this is about. And hard work, yes, it's hard work. And it's going to take us a lot more work to educate our community, not just here in East LA, but around LA County. East LA is maybe one good start. I'm sure South LA will also be having hearings and meetings like this. I would encourage the other board of supervisors to do the same thing, including Antelope Valley and Lancaster.
You guys share the channel, guys. Share the channel.
Spread out in terms of information and transparency. And I want to just continue to let you know that my office, and I want to thank my staff, Esther Lynn, and my team, Solis, that are here. You can raise your hands and just stand up. They have been working side by side with me on this journey as well. And I also want to thank, and I'm hopeful that Sheriff Hilda, our new sheriff, who created just recently constitutional policing unit, and we have one of those members who's going to lead that. Her name is Eileen Decker. She's here as well, and she tells me that she's available to talk to people afterwards or to get her card.
Yep.
But I thank her. I didn't even know she was coming, so I want to thank Eileen, who I've known for many years. We've worked on other issues. So I know that one of the things that we want to talk about.
That's
is
Hilda
also
Solis, guys.
one of the directives in the CLC recommendations was to make sure that we have full disclosure and that the OIG, who is here with us today, Max Huntsman, also is able to access the database that the sheriff has and the documents that are there. For some reason, they were inappropriately removed before this new sheriff came in. But we know we have to work to make sure that we create that trust and create that fuente, as we say in Spanish, that bridge. We've got to create that bridge of cooperation and trust. So I'm hopeful that today we're going to start down that path. We've done a lot, but I also know that there's many families here today that we're going to hear from. And I especially want to thank the family of Paul Ria, the family of David Ornaz Jr., the family of Anthony Vargas, and the family of Marco Vasquez. We're here para oír, to hear your stories, okay? That you're not forgotten, and that we're going to continue on this road, this pathway, in partnership together. I also want to make sure that you understand from my perspective, you know, county has a lot of resources, and I know perhaps some of you may be aware of some of them, but maybe not all of them. But today we've invited many of our county resource folks that are sitting on the side there along the wall and back of you. I want to encourage you before you leave today, you know, you're supporting each other, but how can we also use the support services that the county offers for you? Some of these support services have just been created because of all the things that we've heard. And I do not want to see those funding efforts and support services go without being tapped. And what I mean by that is I want to make sure that you connect, the community connects. And maybe if you don't feel comfortable today, that you get their cards and you follow up and you talk to them. Because we have to have confianza. You know what confianza means?
Trust.
We have to have confidence and trust with each other. And the people that are in the back, I'd like them to please stand. Would they please stand, all the providers over here? Because I want to make sure that you all will visit with them and talk to them. They're here because they gave up their Saturday to be here in East LA with you. And I want to make sure that wherever we go, when we have events like this, that they're able to participate and that you take advantage of them. They're here to help our community heal.
I hope so, guys. I hope so.
I want to also say to you that we have a lot more work to do. Family assistance, violence prevention. We're just starting down that road, but we've done a lot to try to already, through 4 motions that I put forward, to try to help provide a lifeline of support for families who have been victimized. So whatever it might be, those funds should be made available for grief counseling, for burial services, and for other connections to resources that the county can offer to you, your families, or those individuals that are impacted. And I sincerely mean that, because I too come from a place where I know that oftentimes You don't know who to ask, you don't know who to trust, and it's hard to navigate that system. But if we work together como una familia, and we work together and strive for that, I think we can see a change and a difference here. So I'm not going to say much more. I'll be here to listen, to hear from you, and to also encourage you to get to know this body that has been created because we know we have to have a better connection to hear the voices of our community. But they're not the only avenue. You have the support systems here, you have our offices here, and you have many people that are advocating for you. So please understand that. And I hope each of them will be able to tell you the part of work that they have been so uniquely engaged in. And I especially want to thank the chairman, Sean Kennedy, because he has done a tremendous job doing the research to actually document over 50 years of the existence of deputy gangs. So he's been a tremendous advocate, and we need to give him respect, and please give him a round of applause. I will turn it back over to our moderator, and let us begin, y ojalá que vamos a seguir luchando, and as we say, sí se puede. Thank you.
Thank you, Supervisor Solis. Before we continue, we're going to have a Spanish announcement.
Thank you, Hilda.
Good morning. I will
Thank
be
you.
saying a few words to announce Spanish translation, and I will say that in Spanish. Muy buenos días. ¿Hay alguien que necesite interpretación al español? Esta reunión es en inglés. Por favor, vayan en la mesa que está atrás. Tenemos el equipo de traducción. Gracias. Thank you.
Thank you, and thank you again, Eileen, for being present. Eileen is here to listen, and we do just want you to know that the commission is working closely with the Sheriff's Department's leadership to ensure that these recommendations will be implemented. We will introduce our panel of commissioners. They're here to listen to you today. First, we have Hans Johnson, Patty Giggins, J.P. Harris, our chair, Sean Kennedy, Luis Garcia, and our Inspector General, Max Huntsman. So today's meeting is also being live streamed and recorded. And now I'll turn it over to Chair Kennedy.
Thank you. We're about to begin a town hall here in East LA that focuses on the impact of deputy gangs on the East LA community and the surrounding community. And Supervisor Solis, we're really honored to have you here listening to the stories of the people most impacted by unchecked deputy gangs. This is an area of great concern to this commission. I just think it is one of the most important things that we do. And Supervisor, I really appreciate you putting up with me as we keep the focus on this important problem. So I don't always say it, but it's much appreciated, your support. And now I want to say that, just frame this before we begin the meeting. The commission has been holding special hearings on deputy gangs for at least 6 or 7 months now at Loyola Law School. And the evidence of
Appreciate you,
deputy gangs in the department, in my opinion, is indisputable. And we have issued recommendations that the Board of Supervisors has unanimously asked Sheriff Luna to adopt. He's considering those. We don't have an answer yet, but I expect one soon. And that work was very important, but the work here today is our most important work. To hear from the people who have lost loved ones to fatal deputy shootings or who have experienced unconstitutional policing and excessive use of force, which are the coin that the deputy gangs trade in, is so important. And so the families who have come here today to educate us about that, I feel like we owe you a debt that we can never repay. because it just seems like it is really hard to ask you to address this commission. But we have to ask you because we have to continue shining a light on this problem and keeping the pressure up for the sheriff to do something. And so we're going to do that today. And we're going to have family impact remarks right now. This is not a regular hearing. This is a town hall. I don't believe we have to comply with all the formalities that exist at our regular hearing. And I know many people don't feel like the
city
2-minute
council
clock
meeting
is enough
to the sheriff, you know,
to
and then
have
deputy
meaningful
gangs and
discussion.
between the sheriff department.
To that end, we have agreed that we'd like to give every family impacted by this issue about 10 minutes. I'm not gonna time you. I'm just gonna ask if you could do that so that everyone can share their story. But our intent is to give people as much time as necessary to fully understand the effects of.
So there you have it, guys. He's gonna give everybody the chance to talk 10 minutes.
Community. It's appropriate we start here in East LA, which sadly.
10 minutes is
East LA
enough, man. You
Station,
could really get the point across within 10 minutes, guys.
Deputy
know?
gangs, the first deputy gang, the Little Red Devil started here. Of course, there have been others, most recently the Bandidos. And so to that end, I think we'll begin. I'm going to start with the Vargas family.
Hello, my name is Lisa. Majority of the people that are here already know me, and the board already knows me also. You know, this last week, we're going through our civil trial, and you know, the problem that I'm having here is your guys' language. Not only words that have been spoken before us today, but words that are spoken in the system, such as de-escalation. We hear advocates, we have advocates for the families. The truth of the matter is that nobody is an advocate but the families themselves, because nobody understands the pain. I've sat here in this trial and I've tried to be a strong person as a mom, sitting before the people that killed my sons, that executed my sons. And I have to compose myself, not only myself, for myself, and to not give anybody the power. They took my son, but they didn't take my mind, they didn't take my heart, and they're not going to take my life. So I'm composing myself. But in the process of all of this, what people don't understand in this community or these boards or Hilda Solis' office or anybody is that I have to be the strong one because I have my sisters behind me, and I have my mother behind me, and I have the community behind me. So I have to conduct myself a strong way. And that's something that nobody understands. That's something that every mother that's here can contest to. Every aunt, every grandmother can contest to. Now I've been blessed because I come from a long line of strong mujeres. The women in my family are very powerful and they're strong and they put their emotions aside to make sure that what needs to be done needs to be done. Stephanie and Valerie rose up when I had to take a step back because I needed to take care of myself. Throughout this, I've had medical conditions happen to me. I've been depressed. It's affecting my work. It's affecting me as a mother because now I'm afraid of my children getting killed every time we walk out. I'm afraid of my nieces and my nephews. I'm afraid for my sisters when they walk out the door. The anxiety, the fear, all of these things. There's no service that you can give to us. And I keep hearing about the deputy gangs, all these reports, and we're doing this and we're collecting this data. Once again, I'm going to tell this system, just like I say in the courtroom. Everybody has seen my son as a case. Not once has my son been humanized in any of this. He's a victim. He was the one that got murdered. And I hear so much support. I hear everybody talking about the support, but I refuse. I hear the, are you okay? I hear, is there anything you need? Now in the court system, we just recently heard the word de-escalation. Many people in this community work with organizations. The wording needs to be changed. De-escalation is not pulling out a baton or pepper spray or shooting a person with a beanbag. De-escalation is making the situation less escalated, speaking, trying to get to the person. I'm having a hard time de-escalating myself because there's no resource out there. There's no definition for people like us. Impacted families are separate from you guys, and that's what you need to understand. Your wording needs to change. People need to stop victimizing the families. The re-victimization of asking certain questions or demanding things from us. We can give information, but the information, nothing's getting done with it. We have to wait years to see it. And it's a broken system, I understand. But today, this family comes up here, and we're strong. Yesterday was such a hard day, but we were able to get up. Does anybody ask these families about how their life has really changed? Because we got to continue. When Anthony, my son, is no longer here, we got to work. We got to be mothers. We got to be everything to our children. I'm in the community. I'm working through this. I go to court, I come home, and I'm right on the clock. Not because I have to, but because I refuse to give this broken system the power, these corrupt cops to get the power over me to say not only did they take my son, but they broke my mind and they broke my heart. Every mother that's here, I honor them. I bow down to them. Every family member. Because to everybody out here, our loved ones are cases. Our loved ones are a topic. But no, here we stand with the rest of the impacted families out there, and the ones that ain't here, and the ones that we don't know because they're fearful behind the intimidation. And we're saying our children are more than numbers, more than cases, more than data that needs to be collected. These children deserve to be honored. I get you guys are a system. You guys have your information that needs to be collected to change this system. But let's be real. Is there even a dent in it? It takes years for data to get collected and then years for it to be in a process of emotion here. A majority of us have been intimidated in some way in our lives by the sheriffs, by law enforcement, and they're still out there. Nothing is being done. Nobody has the power but them. And this is where I say, as a mother, as an aunt, as a grandma, no more. No more. This is where our communities need to raise up and start bringing this issue to the streets. Because everybody's so afraid of these sheriffs, and guess what? To me, they're punks. They have middleman syndrome. Half of these people that walked in that place today, the other day, were short, small, and they had so much power, trying to intimidate everybody that was in there. Where's the resources? Where's the community? Where's the system? Because at the end of the day, it's about the re-victimization. that they give us and they try to pump into us. I have generations that are coming, and my generations are gonna stand tall, and my generations are gonna make sure this stops, and my generation is gonna go up against this system, they're gonna go hard. Because if you guys fail us, they're gonna take over.
I'm just going to be very brief. I just want to say I want to thank the commission, specifically Mr. Kennedy, for holding these meetings, for being so consistent with going up against the system. From the beginning, you were, one of the first ones to challenge the notion of deputy gangs, and it's greatly appreciated. I do want to say that when you turn and look around here, there's one big component of all this missing in the room. Where's Robert? Where's Robert Luna? He's the one that's supposed to be here to adopt these 27 recommendations, and he's the one chair that's missing in the room, and that's the problem. We're talking about deputy gangs, and we're talking about who's in charge of really uprooting the issue. It's the sheriff in charge, and he's the one chair that's empty up there. I have nothing else to say.
I'll be really quick too. I just wanted to ask Ms. Solis, you're here for 30 minutes, but what are you really going to retain in 30 minutes from all the impacted families here? One thing that I wanted to bring up also, since we're on the subject of deputy gangs, is what's going on with the family harassment motion, because we're in civil trial right now. We are having deputies from the East Valley Station walk the same hallways as us, as we're in my nephew's federal civil case. These are the same deputies that we've been coming to you and complaining about for the past 4 years. And we passed a family motion of harassment report, but where is it going? Where is it going? We're on the opposite side from the deputies who we complained about. There's no resources for us because we're not even considered victims. So that's it. Thank you, Mr. Kennedy, for all the work you've been doing. It's been really appreciated. We've come a long way, and we're here for it, and we'll stay, and we'll keep doing what we have to do.
The people are speaking, guys.
Yeah, I really appreciate that. Our next, we're going to hear from the Vasquezes. I don't know if they're here live or if it's. Good morning.
My name is Chris Vasquez. On the night of October 6, 2019, we asked for help during a mental health crisis. Instead, the Pico Rivera Sheriff's Station assassinated my brother on the driveway of our childhood home, and to make the pain even greater, he was killed in front of his loved ones. The use of excessive force by law enforcement has to stop. The impact that this caused by the shared responsibility of power-hungry officers and the careless discard for a human life is despicable. To know that they hide behind badges and protected by outdated laws is a plain slap in the face. No one is above the law. Proper trainings and protocols need to be in place. If so, my brother would have still been alive. Legal force was not necessary that night and is not always the answer. Their so-called "I fear for my life" excuse is BS and it's overused. We fear for our lives as well and live with that fear every single day. That night, I was hit by a rogue bullet, and fear not only for my life, but my family's. And we, as well as all the other impacted families, use our fear, our grief, and the memory of our loved ones to fight and change this broken system. Every day that I visit my family, and I see my godson and my nephews, how do I tell them that my brother, their dad, is never coming back? The other day, celebrating my sister-in-law's birthday, my youngest nephew said, "That's not my dad, my dad's dead." How do you tell a 3-year-old who was 6 months old when that happened? 6 weeks old, sorry. We have to be doing this every single day. I have to see my mom, I have to see my dad suffering. They're broken, I'm broken. To have to walk into our home in the driveway where my brother was shot. To have to witness my father cleaning up the blood that they left behind because they couldn't even do that. To know that there's this bullshit excuses that they have all the time doesn't help us. We need real change. We need it, we deserve it, and our loved ones' memories will never rest until we all get that change. Thank you.
Good morning, and thank you for giving us the space. My son, Antonio Vasquez Jr. was my firstborn son, and he was also my friend. On the night that he was murdered, he was having a severe mental breakdown, and he believed that we were all in danger. He was trying to protect us from the harm that was real inside of his mind. And unfortunately, he suffered from paranoid schizophrenia and anxiety. The sheriffs came and they tried to persuade him to trust them for help. He couldn't trust anyone during that psychosis. They left after an hour and a half, and I begged them not to leave. The sergeant said he was not a danger to himself or to us. 20 minutes later, we had a call pet team. Unfortunately, they were closed, and they told us that we had to call the sheriffs. And now I stand here before you because this call changed our lives for the rest of our lives and until we take our last breath. We witnessed Marco's horrific murder. He was shot 13 times. 4 impacted his back as they were shooting him while he was falling down, and the last shot while he was standing was to his head. Conveniently, no one had body cams. There was no dash cams. And it's their word against us. All 3 cops were transported to the police station in the same vehicle with the sergeant. And we were held in the station for over 10 hours, not allowed us to leave, and questioned us, chaperoned us, even to the restroom. We couldn't even breathe and listen to everything we said. At times we see them in the end of our cul-de-sac, parked across the street from my daughter-in-law's residence, following some of them inside the stores, in the freeways, mocking and laughing. When we tried to prepare for marching in protest of what they did to him, they come to our house at nighttime, the second time they came during the day, to reassure us that they are there for us, to help us, to call them if we need any help and they want to get all the details of where we're going and how we're walking and what streets we're walking on. But when we ask for help, instead of helping us, they murdered him. So why should we trust them? And now we're here fighting for justice. And as long as cops are taught to claim we fear for our life, they will use this excuse to justify the wrong. As long as they are protected by immunity, not held responsible, continue to pay wages after suspension, etc., they will always continue to murder our loved ones. Let's not forget he was terrified that his family was in danger. And in his mind, he couldn't comprehend that everything was really okay. They came with the intent to kill, based on what was released on the 911 calls. They changed the whole story to fit their narrative and twisted around everything we said. Talking to them was our biggest mistake. We are left to grieve a lifetime afraid of cops and untrusting of the system. A widow being mom and dad. trying to do everything she can for her children. My grandchildren are now fatherless, hurting and full of pain, questioning themselves whether they did the right thing to call and ask for help. The guilt kills you because you question every action you took to try to protect him. The little ones blowing up birthday candles, pretending to be happy, and when you ask them to make a wish, she could see the pain and the sadness while they're wishing that their father was still here. We all grasp onto any memory to keep him alive. So much unexplainable pain. Your heart feels like it's ripping, like it's tearing, like it's bruised. Like you can't even hold it because it's gonna fall and disintegrate all together in one. He was a beautiful, caring soul. He was lovable. He was funny. He was a hardworking man. A friend, a husband, a father, a brother, a son. Not perfect, but he was worth everything to us. And he deserved help, not bullets to take his life. I do believe gangs exist within the sheriff's department, and not just in East LA. I believe gangs are all over the world. The difference is the gangs that are inside, behind walls with a badge, are protected by immunity. But little by little, the darkness within the departments is coming to light and is becoming evident. Corruption within the department, cops coming forward about the existence, the clicks, the gangs, the tattoos, committing perjury, abuse of color of law, pleading the Fifth Amendment should say something. Why should a cop plead the Fifth Amendment? Why? Why should they even have a fucking right to plead the Fifth Amendment? Why? Even a blind man can see what others are refusing to see. They need to prosecute, accept, and dismantle this enemy of our community. I ask, how many more meetings will we have to attend from the COC and others? How many meetings before something is really done? I mean, I'm tired of coming to the meetings and seeing that all we're doing is talking and yabbing and yabbing and yabbing. How much data is going to be collected before they're really taken to court, and until someone really eradicates and dismantles everything that these men and women have done to our families. But I do want to thank each and every one of you who believe and stand by our side and fight for what you're seeing is really true. We're not making it up like Villanueva said. We're not getting paid, standing in the corners, fighting and protesting. No one is paying us. You can't fake this shit. You can't fake what they've done to us. Yesterday, all I did was cry. Because when the depression takes over, you can't stop the tears. You can't ever stop the pain. You guys are all parents, I'm sure. I pray none of you guys ever go through this. And if you want to imagine what it's like to lose a child, look at us and hear all our stories. Go home, sleep on it, and think about every single one of us, and ask yourselves if you'd like to be standing in my place here today. Thank you.
Next, thank you. Really, we really need to hear that, so thank you. Next, we'll hear from the Ordaz family. Thank you, Emily.
name is Hilda Solis. My father was David Olas Jr. He was brutally murdered and executed by 4 sheriff's deputies by the names of Remy Pineda, Edwin Navarrete, Nathaniel Trujillo, and Romero. My dad had a knife. He wanted to kill himself, but 4 deputies on the scene that day took it into their own hands to shoot him 12 times, 7 times in the back, and even one through his chest while he was on the floor. My family, with the exception of myself, my siblings, and my mom, witnessed the ruthless murder as it occurred outside my family's home. It would take you all about a 2-minute drive to visit the spot my dad was executed, where his altar now sits. My dad used to push me on the swing set that lies across the street. I'd run into his arms when he picked me up after school from the elementary up the hill. Now, instead of him being able to do the same for my siblings, his memory is held by my family as we navigate the terrible journey of mourning and everlasting trauma. Our community of East LA has been plagued with neglect, gang violence, and harassment from LASD and its power-tripping deputies for decades. Leaving our Chicano youth, like my little brother, my little sister, my cousins, and myself, to experience and witness the loss of our brothers, fathers, grandfathers, and loved ones, instead of focusing on our education, our goals, and our future. Since my dad's murder, my family and I have been left with the trauma and responsibility of picking up the pieces LASD mercilessly left for us. Pieces that LASD have left for so many families in our community and others like it. Not only have they left us with trauma, but they have relentlessly harassed and purposefully intimidated our families, leaving no space to peacefully coexist in our home or heal from the ruthless massacre they have submitted our people to for generations. I can honestly say that I'm more fearful of deputy gangs than I've ever been of a civilian gang in my entire life. I hope my words have served you all with honesty and sincerity and left a great and lasting impact on this commission. Thank you.
As a lifelong resident in East LA and someone who has worked since 14 years old in our local church and elementary school, I have been able to gain the trust of my community. Law-abiding members of my neighborhood are afraid to report crime to the station. Neighbors are afraid they will be jeopardizing their immigration status. A mother from my school had her home searched while she was caring for her elder mother, and she wasn't able to stay with her as she was showering. She had to go out with her children, figure out where all her children were inside her home and take them outside. Something that it just within itself is terrible enough. But unfortunately, LASD terrified them before realizing they had the wrong address. No sorries, no excuses. After she had been telling them for many times that why were they there? Why were they being searched? Even businesses who go out of their way to cater to deputies report that LASD is slow and unhelpful when they report an incident. Just before getting here, we were driving by on First Street, and there were some teens being harassed by some sheriffs. As we turned around, we see other ones right there with a transient. And being a transient is not a crime. It enrages me to remember and describe the day my brother was murdered by your deputies. The team that answered my call for help did everything wrong in a call that should have been supported for a mental health crisis. From not sending a mental health evaluation team, to failing to de-escalate the situation, to using lethal force on a person in distress who was not a threat to officers. When my sister-in-law asked for answers after they executed my brother right in front of our family home, deputy screamed at her, "You called us," which I think is very disrespectful. Another deputy did not allow us to visit our brother at the hospital.
I kept on begging him to let us go out and see him at the hospital. I had on the phone, I had the doctor that was working on my brother because we needed a confirmation that he was definitely dead, although we had seen how they had executed him in front of us. I begged him to let us go, and the doctor said, I'm willing to talk to a deputy, give your phone to a deputy. When I had my phone on speaker, she said, I need to speak to them because their loved one has already died and I need to tell them. And he said, there's no need because they just heard you. The next time that we ever saw David again was once we had him in a casket in his services. That was the next time we saw him after being executed. We had to see him that way. The excessive force used that day should have never happened at hands of those who we thought, because I did think before that they were there to protect and serve us. Never will anyone in our family ever have any trust or capacity to work with their department of deputies, as long as there's deputy gangs in there. Now, we all know that Nicolas Perez is a Bandito member, and knowing now that he took control of David's initial report at the station makes me question the integrity of the entire day that happened. Seeing these officers out there is incredible and traumatizing. First, we saw them at our local store while we're trying to purchase groceries. We saw one of them there. But what was more terrible was after that, seeing him around the corner from our house. This shouldn't happen. Why are they not even asking to be removed to another station? Fine if they have their job. Just think about, put yourself in our situation where we're in our community and we're trying to live. We're trying to go by each day and having to see them around there. How traumatizing. Having to remember that day and seeing their faces, how my brother is not alive and can't be here, but they are. Having my children drive is so paranoid, thinking that now they're gonna be in their hands. We can adopt any recommendations. We can adopt bills, laws. It doesn't matter what we do. If we don't put them in place and actually use them and actually go through with them, there's no point in them. So I ask you, if you are thinking of implementing, if you are giving these recommendations to him and he's not implementing them, or he says he is going to, it's your job and our job to make sure that he really is doing it and that he's following through with this. And him not being here, I'm sorry, but that already gives us a lot of information on how it's not gonna happen. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we'll hear from Hilda Solis. Oh, I'm sorry. You're part of it. I really appreciate your comments about the need to implement the reforms and laws that we have in a meaningful way. And we're listening. Vanessa Perez.
My name is Vanessa Perez. I'm the mother of Joseph Perez, who was beat by the sheriffs, and I think it's important that I talk to Hilda Solis face to face, like here, because I already shared the story with you guys, and you guys have all listened already. But I think it's important that Hilda Solis listens. I'm sharing on behalf of Joseph Andrew Perez, who you're Los Angeles County Sheriff, used excessive force and covered it up. Joseph was resuscitated, meaning he was brought back to life on July 27, 2020, and the victim of jail violence for 2 years after. The early morning of July 27, 2020, your sheriffs punched and struck Joseph Perez 121 times. Deputy Sean Merrick, the so-called initial deputy that punched my son, then slammed him to the floor. Deputy Sebastian Pombal said I punched the suspect on his face approximately 10 times and then continued to punch his face with both my fists approximately 10 more times. A total of 20 punches from Sebastian Pombal. Deputy Abraham Rivera said he punched Joseph 3 to 5 times to his face and felt exhausted and had trouble breathing, but managed to punch 8 to 10 more times to Joseph's upper torso and head area. Then Deputy Rivera said my punches to his upper body area were not having the desired effect, and I believe I needed to switch my use of force. Deputy Rivera continues to do 10 more head strikes, a total of 26 more punches from Abraham Rivera. Deputy Vincent Rodriguez said, I punched his face and upper torso area approximately 10 times, then struck approximately 7 more times to Joseph's face with the sides of both my fists, or with the sides of my fist. Punched Joseph's torso 5 times with both fists and then became dizzy and exhausted. A total of 22 punches from Vincent Rodriguez. Deputy Jake Adamo said he struck Joseph with both fists. He continued to say, I used my personal weapons, hitting Joseph with both my left and right fist, approximately 10 times to his abdomen and groin. Then began striking his face and his head approximately 10 more times. Total of 20 punches, or 40, from Jake Adamo. And there's Deputy Paul Sedano, who is currently a school resource officer at Nogales High School. Paul Sedano was the last deputy that claims to hit my son 14 times to his head and upper torso. Paul Sedano deemed his punches took effect because Joseph stopped fighting back. And I'm sure that's another lie because my son stopped moving a long time before that. Okay, I don't know if everybody is keeping up, but according to each of these police reports, and these are the direct words from your Los Angeles County sheriffs, my son was approximately punched 121 times. My son weighed 110 pounds at the time. I've seen grown men get knocked out with one punch on the streets. 121 times is absolutely ridiculous. It's beyond words. And these are from trained officers, professionally trained officers, that it took 121 times to apprehend my son. That's ridiculous. Not to mention the jail violence that occurred for the 2 years after that, and the medical neglect on behalf of more county officials. Okay, and then I want to say, I heard your recommendations, Ms. Hilda Solis, and I heard words like rotate and transfer. They need to be removed and terminated, is what I wish I would hear from your and if you guys don't know where to start with this termination and removal, you can start here because I have a list of deputies and their names, badge numbers, and what you need to do to start. Get them off of our streets.
Hell yeah!
Thank you. I don't have any other family impact remarks. Jennifer, can I just ask, are there any others?
I'm not aware of any. We're good.
Can I ask a question? I just want
Oh.
to ask,
And we will take public comments as well. We're just trying to get the family,
We're waiting
but
for-
certainly you can ask a question. You have a family impact?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Can you go look?
My name is Luis Peña.
This is my YouTube channel.
Born and
I
raised in
film
Bold
the
Heights,
Cabo de Macao. Check it
and
out.
currently live in City Terrace.
South Central.
My brother was Ivan Peña.
I film the sheriff.
He was murdered
I film
a few weeks after Anthony here in City Terrace.
my video. Check it out first.
There's so many different issues that I need to address here, but I guess one that I was just kind of thinking about was that aside from Luna not being here, and I know maybe this is beyond your capacity to bring to the table here, but our representatives of the deputy unions, because they are the ones that actually keep some of these deputies, ensure that they stay on the job. They protect them with legal services, and they protect them with other resources to continue being on the street. And from my understanding, these unions are also made up of former deputies who, I'll make the strong assumption, were also part of these gangs. And so one of the things that I heard some time ago, and I'm not sure if this is accurate or not, but every time there's a shooting and a deputy is put on leave, they get put on leave at the pay rate that they were getting paid at the time of the shooting. And if they're on double overtime, and they're getting paid double overtime at that moment, they're getting paid that when they're not paid administratively. So there's a financial incentive for them, not only to chase ink, but to also take a little paid vacation with that pay rate. So, and again, I might not be accurate. There might be some, something off there, but this is something that I, would like the commission to look into and see if that's something that we can change, if it is accurate. It's very symbolic that we're here in this place here. Behind us is a park, Obregón Park, and it's the location, the center of one of our oldest neighborhood community, groups, which some people call gangs, Oil Maravilla. And although they're one of the oldest, many of our older community groups, today called gangs, came into existence during that time as protective groups of the community at a time when the sailors and Marines were invading our communities during the Zutu times to find the young men, strip them of their clothing, and rape our young women, rape our grandmas, and beat our grandfathers. And although it was happening in LAPD area, it was also happening on this side. And so it goes to show that many of our so-called, what we call gangs today, were created at a time to protect our community. But now we have these real gangs instead of sheriffs who are actually harming, murdering, and then smiling and laughing about it, like gangsters. Okay. So we also have a situation where not only are they murdering us, but they're also creating conflict within the gangs. They're also taking one young man and put him in a rival area. And that's well known in our community. to stoke the fires of violence. I mean, we have the story of the CIA turning a blind eye to bringing cocaine into our communities, which, you know, at a time and into an area of poverty, just created this situation of being able to make more money and using that as an excuse to come in heavy-handed and incarcerate a generation or two of our young men and women, either because they were selling or because they were used. And then use that also as the excuse to want to get paid even more. Right? So it's a systemic thing that, you know, these gangs, these sheriff gangs, and the department overall wants to use as justification for wanting to come and get more funding and get more weapons and more deputies on the street in order to provide this safety, right? This law and order that we hear so much about throughout the decades, law and order. We don't have that with these gangs here. Law and order doesn't exist. For them, it's their law and their order. It's their street justice to earn some ink and be part of this elite or whatever secret society inside of the department. I mean, it's difficult emotionally being up here. My brother was also going through a tough time. You know, socially, cross country, I mean, financially, it's been very hard on our community, especially on young women, young men and women who, on our brothers and sisters who are carrying records, incarceration records, and having a hard time finding employment, having a hard time finding resources. And so sometimes we, you know, the stress just gets to us, and we just, you know, we want to call it, we flip out, or we just, you know, we get to a situation where we, you know, it's better for us not to be here, but that's not the excuse for the sheriffs to come in and take our life. And then using that again as a means to chase some ink. Or maybe, you know, I don't know what the internal dynamics are within these deputy gangs, but I'm sure that they get some kind of internal, you know, acknowledgement, or even going up in the ranks, becoming even an investigator, you know, get promoted even, because this is like 50 years, 60 years. These gangs in the department.
This is the 70s.
They're promoting each other. So. I know that I haven't really looked into the recommendations, but, and I know that some of this is beyond your control, but I think, you know, I'm glad it's starting somewhere. You know, I want to thank the families here that spoke before I have, because I know they've been more involved and they've been more in the, you know, in the forefront of this struggle, of this cause. My mom passed away this December, carrying that pain and the trauma of having to lose her son. And now she's buried in the same location with her son. And I can see how she was carrying that sadness, that sorrow. So I just wanted to come up here and thank you all for opening up this space for us to speak, for us to express ourselves. I would like to see maybe a little bit more of impacted community, impacted family, representing up there with you all. And it gives us family members and the community a sense of representation up there. So with that, I just want to thank Hilda Solis for being here and being able to listen. But I definitely think that these deputy associations, I mean, they haven't been targeted, they haven't been brought up to the forefront of this issue. They're like hiding in the background, and they're actually the ones in the center protecting these deputies. They need to be here in the discussion. So with that, thank you all for having this space, having this opportunity to express ourselves, and hopefully we can get something done really impactful. Thank you.
I was gonna come up as a family member, but my brother Luis Peña, who just spoke, we grew up together. And his brother Ivan Peña, who was killed by the sheriffs, I consider like my brother. I love both of them like my brother. So I come up here as a family member because I love them like my family. And I can't even say that was my first brother that was killed by the sheriffs in East LA. Because my first brother that was killed by the sheriffs in East LA was in 1996. Was Sebastian Ramirez, who was running away and shot 18 times in the back of his back, in the back of his head at 19 years old, who was an only child to his family. Growing up in this community, I've lost two. What are the chances of two to law enforcement? So I'm coming up as a family member right now to speak. But beyond that, I grew up in this neighborhood, to tell you the truth, my whole life. And yeah, there was a moment I was involved in gangs, but to tell you the truth, the first time I came home beaten, bloody, got jumped. My mom saw the horror of my face. I mean, bruised up and full of blood. She goes, "Who did this to you?" The sheriffs. "Here you go." I was young, walking down the street with a partner. They pulled us to the car, cuffed us, beat us down, asked us why we killed an individual that we didn't know what they were talking about. I was about 14 years old at that time. Drove me to see the dead body that I was being accused of killing. Took me in the car to the station to book me when they received a call that they actually caught the actual shooters. Opened the back door of the car. Well, my other brother that was in a concussion. We didn't find out he was in a concussion until later when we had to take him to the hospital. But just uncuffed us and said, "Now you can walk." That wasn't the first or the last time I would have an experience like that in East LA. So since 1995, I've been a peace advocate and a peace worker in East Los Angeles, volunteering. And it wasn't until 2009, that because the service wasn't here in the county, that someone saw my advocacy and allowed me to become that in the city of LA, serving Boyle Heights, Lincoln Heights, and Los Alamos. But in 2018, I was given the blessing and the honor by Hilda Solis to bring these same services into East Los Angeles. I was able to come home where I grew up to provide these services that I was doing in the city as a peace builder. And in response, we respond to all community violence, whether it's gang violence, whether it's domestic violence, whether it's law enforcement violence. And my first year landing as a service provider in 2018, I come across the Vargas family, whose son was killed by the sheriffs. A few weeks later, a shooting in Salazar Park at 4 p.m. broad daylight, over 40 rounds, where children were playing in the playground. And they said there was an armed man that went down, but there was also a young unarmed man that went down. And in a few weeks after that shooting, within a matter of 2 months, I hear there's a shooting in Terrace Hills. And I knew my brother lived there. And I called him, hey brother, you know the brother that they're talking about? Brother Ivan. Then we respond to the Ordaz family. Who's calling a mental health call, gets killed. Then a few months later after that, Jorge Serrano, the community said the man was already shot. Went half a block, went down on his knees, put his hand behind his back, ready to surrender. Gets shot in the back of the head. They couldn't, the gun that supposedly was being used to shoot them, they couldn't find for several hours later, half a block from where his body dropped. Jorge Serrano was killed by the same officers who killed Anthony Vargas. A little bit after that, we get a speed run chase that they got a call. No siren, trained officer going through an intersection, gets clipped, runs up a block, hits a mother and her 2 children, the 10 and 8-year-old Hernandez brothers, driving so fast that they cut the 8-year-old in half in that intersection. The mother has never been able to come out, so depressed and so in pain. But those little boys, were they gang members? What were they? Were they breaking the law at 10 and 8 years old? Never even a public apology. What community would that be tolerated in? In Beverly Hills, would that have been tolerated? Would that have been tolerated in any other community without an outrage of an innocent 10 and 8-year-old? And the list goes on, and we can go all the way back to 1970 when they killed our hero, our educated leader, Ruben Salazar, when they raided a peaceful protest against the Vietnam War and sick dogs on children and women. They killed Ruben Salazar and 2 others that day. And why was Ruben Salazar killed? Because coincidentally, he just happened to be writing an article about 2 other men that were killed by the sheriffs in 1970. And in their logo, I was one of the lone Apaches, at least that they came out to Chavez Fort Apache. So supposedly they have removed the Fort Apache part, but all my bros in the military have told me whenever they go to war and whenever you take over a territory, there's a signal the military puts up to signify that battle that they see as victorious. Something that has nothing to do with the department, nothing to do with the sheriffs, just coincidentally had to be instituted in 3rd Street Sheriff Department after these other riots, with a boot and a riot helmet over it, with the words, basically a boot to your ass in Spanish, and low profile. Why does a law enforcement agency that's supposed to be a public servant, how can they advocate the right to have a low profile? So supposing the Fort Apache part has been removed, but all that other still exists. So what kind of real reform is going on in the mentality of these individuals that could clearly be seen as assimilating into gang culture rather than being law enforcement? And it's still there to this day. And the officers on their cars, on their vehicles, on their jackets are still allowed to rock Fort Apache in its full insignia. And anybody knows the history of Fort Apache, that was not a beautiful place for the Apache people. And this is not Arizona, New Mexico. And this is not the 1800s. And this is not the Apache Wars in the U.S. So what does it got to do with Islos? What are you really saying by rocking that? Us against them? Then how do you build a community that way? See, I'm coming up here giving a risk to myself. I know you all know that. Because I'm a community advocate and a peacemaker. And I will continue to remain that to my last days, because I've been doing it too long to know how to do anything else. But I'm here with the hopes of real reform, with the hopes of real change, the hopes of even endangering myself, that you all could really do something, because this has been going on before 1970.
Thank you.
Now I know with this though, they have their insignia tradition of service. So ask yourself, what kind of tradition have they been giving to the city of Los Angeles when we've been traumatized and in fear and living in fear and violence for so long? I really hope y'all can do some real change, because I've been and Sebastian Ramirez, those are my brothers, and I miss them, and I love them, and there should never be another Ramirez, there should never be another Peña, there should never be another Vargas, there should never be another Reya, there should never be another Hernandez, there should never be another Ordaz, there should never be another Hugo Salazar.
The next family is the Reya family. Take your time.
I love you. My name is Shailene Rhea. I'm Paul Rhea's oldest sister. My brother was killed on June 27, 2019 in a traffic stop. Out of my family, I'm probably the least emotional, but every time we come to something like this, I'm broken. I'm traumatized. It was about 2 weeks after my brother passed that we came here for one of our first meetings, and I had no clue what I was doing, but I knew I had to come and fight for my brother and the wrong that the sheriffs did. It wasn't even 5 minutes of my brother leaving my job that he and his friend was pulled over. I wish I can share much of what happened, but we only know what the deputies claimed, because they didn't have no body or dash cams. The little we do know breaks us, and what we've seen from house surveillance is disturbing. The first action that Deputy Saavedra, a known Bandito gang member, did was jump on his cell phone, and within minutes, other Bandito prospects showed up. We went to the station looking for my brother, and there was no answers, just laughs in my mom's face. I went to the USC hospital to go look for him, and all they did was make me wait around and keep identifying every part of his body that I possibly could. By the time they took us in the room, and a doctor came in and said that he didn't make it, I asked to see him one last time, and supposedly his body was already at the corners. The sheriffs claimed there was a scuffle, but DA Lacey said there was no sign of a scuffle from the surveillance of the house. So why did you kill my 18-year-old brother in such a horrific way? Was he a sacrifice? Was he the stripes he needed to earn in the game? I'm not sure what to say anymore, how to feel, how to think, or how to address these topics, because we've been talking about it for so long. It's already gonna be 4 years that my brother's life was taken from him. It's emotionally, physically, mentally draining. But for as long as I'm alive, you guys will see my face, fighting for my brother in any possible way. About 2 years ago, we were getting tacos, not even 5 minutes away from where my brother was killed. And we seen Deputy Saavedra eating tacos, smiling, laughing, which was so unfair to be in the same city that we grew up in and see your brother's killer smiling, living his life when he took your 18-year-old brother's life. He took the kid's life for no reason. I believe my brother was a sacrifice. I believe he wanted that ink on his body. I feel like that was the only reason why he killed him. And I don't know, it's just been so many years already. We're just here, seeing the same thing over and over. And I get this is part of the fight, but it's draining. It's completely draining. Just lost my grandma a couple weeks ago. And after Paul passed, that's when her health declined. Because that was her baby. That was her first grandchild that was taken from her. And I won't forget seeing her take her last breath. And after she did, tears started coming down her eyes. And I believe it's because she's seen my brother. I believe it's because she's with him. And like I said before, my brother made it to heaven. Saavedra will be in hell. Thank you.
We have one more speaker.
Hi, my name is Ellie. I used to come to the COC meetings back when I was like 20, 21. But this is really, it's hard to come here. I had a cousin who was 14 years old. He was killed by Santana Police Department, so he wasn't by the sheriffs, but he was 14 years old. He was killed in 2012. And Hilda Solis, like I'm also from the San Gabriel Valley. I grew up in La Fuente, went to La Fuente High School. And we always hear about, especially from the county, how there's so much violence in the San Gabriel Valley. But we never talk about how the sheriffs are also responsible for that violence in the SGV. And like I said, I used to come to the COC meetings, and I had to take a break because it's triggering to hear the stories of other families, what they've gone through, and the atrocities that they have felt, that they've experienced, continue to experience. And I just want to echo that, the families are the driving factor for all of this. It's the families sharing our stories time and time again. And I really want to echo what Lisa had said, that nobody can be an advocate for this except for the families themselves. No organization or group is going to support families better than families that are going to support themselves. Families get screwed over time and time again on so many different levels, from the county departments, from reporters to different organizations. And I was one of the very few families who was one of the co-sponsors for SB 1421 that gave us public disclosure to the law enforcement misconduct files. I saw how reporters and organizations profited off of that. When it was us, when it was families going up to Sacramento, talking to senators, talking to assembly members, talking to the governor about this. It was the families. Yet, it was the organizations and reporters who profited off of that. They got access to these misconduct files. We saw how different law enforcement agencies destroyed records. We're trying to destroy records. I know families who had to pay $3,000 to get Public Records Act request to get files on the officers that killed their loved ones. And all this progress that we've had so far is not because of these different entities, it's because of the families. All the families that have spoken here today, all the families that have been speaking for years, it's because of the families. It's not because of these systems or because it's seen as we're going in a more progressive area, it's because of the families. And it's because the families continue to stand up time and time again to share their stories. And I want to leave you with this question. Why are deputy gangs barely being addressed in 2023 when it's been documented for years now? It's been known in the streets that deputy gangs exist, and it's known within the county. You know, and this is just indicative that it's not just an issue with the sheriff with the LASD, but it's indicative of the plague that is law enforcement in its entirety. Thank you.
Does that conclude our?
Excuse me, but I put my name in there, and I don't know why it didn't come out. My name is Sandra Chavez, and I just want to share a little bit about the Codes Commission.
We're gonna have public comments next. We're just finishing family impact remarks.
Well,
so I think that's it.
Paul Rhea is my granddaughter's fiance's cousin.
We're gonna have public.
And I just want to let you know, okay.
I promise. We're
Okay, because I just want to share something about the Codes Commission and about Paul Rhea's family.
We'll get there.
Thank you.
Damn, she's spicy.
I think the only appropriate thing to do in response to the profound statements we've all heard is to take a brief break.
Is that hard for you guys? That you guys want to take a break?
10
It's
minutes.
affecting you guys? Because we want to talk. You know, we're eager to talk. You know?
We're gonna have full public
yeah.
comment. It's just we've been going a long time, so we're gonna take 10 minutes and then we're gonna start up
Okay.
full public comment.
All right, I'll be ready.
Solis is right there, guys. She just walked out right there with all the people right there. So these guys gonna know that we're gonna be right here advocating for the people, man. You know, you guys heard the stories. How you doing? You guys heard what's going on here within the community, within the East Coast community, man. All these families over here. What's up, bro? How you doing? Can I get a sticker or what? Yeah, I got you. Hell yeah. You know, you see me on my live, you had to pull up, huh? Yeah.
There's nurses, EMTs, and social workers across the country that have gotten together to create networks of
What's up, bro?
You have the stickers,
Yeah,
but I had my other phone and I lost it and I replaced it.
I just want to say I appreciate you, bro. Strong ass words, bro. You know, I never bring something to this community. I'm something about it. I'm glad I come about in the hood, you know what I mean? When I heard the story, bro, just check out my Instagram, man. You get me, man. I was doing this stuff here. The army bro, and just getting information on the field, bro. That's inspiring, you know what I mean? And then check me out, bro, on YouTube. Check my Instagram, bro. Video, bro. Appreciate you, man. Yeah, like when I started doing this, bro, I filmed the cops in South Central LA, like all day, every day, you know, LAPD and sheriffs, you know, and we see a lot of shit that's going on, and It's crazy because when I go out there, bro, and I call out the sheriff like, you part of the banditos. You can see it on their fucking face how they transfer them, bro, from here, and they transfer them over there, bro. So they take the same shithole way over there, bro. Like, and that's why when I heard about this, bro, I had to come. Like, I'ma come, you know what I mean? Because this is what I do, bro, for the community, you know. And you coming out, bro, having them. I'm gonna tell you something, bro. I appreciate that, you know. Makes me go back and do my homework just like you did, you know, and bringing back those names out there for the community, man, inspires me to even come harder, you know. Because when I started doing what I do, Ray, watch when you check me out what I do, man. You're gonna see what I do, bro. I film the cops, hold them accountable, make sure they don't violate people's rights, you know. Because when we pull up with the cameras, bro, that's what my advice to everybody, bro. Record everything. Record everything. That's the lesson nowadays, you know. You record everything, bro, you know. Pero ahí estamos al millón. Thank you, eh? Appreciate you. Thank you.
And I just wanted to thank you for that.
And yours? It's okay. We're taking a 10-minute break, guys. 10-minute break. These are the kind of service they provide. They check you guys around.
Well, thank you.
How you doing? Pretty good. Right here spreading the word, you know, it's very interesting, you know. Because me, I was born and raised South Central LA, you know, and I film the cops, you know, I'm an auditor. I go out there, film the cops, hold them accountable, make sure they don't violate people's rights, you know, show up to traffic stops, all that kind of stuff, you know. But this kind of police brutality even jumps out to all the neighborhoods, you know, everywhere in South Central, because a lot of the times, a lot of these deputies out here, when they ask for transfer, they transfer them to a department over there, sometimes to Compton, sometimes to Century Station, and they take that same energy and apply it to the young bucks out there, you know. And when we go out there, my videos, you know, I'm on YouTube live right now, so I tell them all the time, like, bro, number one thing nowadays got to do is everybody gonna be record everything. The cop pulls up, you record them. Accountability is number one thing we got to do nowadays. It's not about having excuses, it's about accountability. You know what I mean? And it changes the perspective on everything, you know? That's what we come out here and do, you know? Yeah, you know, and they want to shut us down. They want to shut our mouth, you know, when they pull up scenes. But once we get educated, we know our rights, they'll be like, oh my goodness. And a lot of my video shows, like, whenever I tell them a South Central audit, they'll be like, okay, they know what it is, you know what I mean? And that's what it's about, you know? Like I tell people, man, this is not for us anymore. We're just planting a little seed for the younger generation that's coming up. They ain't gonna do that anymore. You know what I mean? That's why I started what I started. That's why I started being an auditor, because of that. I got tired of sitting on the sidewalk. Come here, give me your ID. Put your hands in the hot hood. It's not gonna happen anymore. That don't happen anymore, you know? Because you make them aware. I expose people like that. My platform, I'm gonna give you guys my sticker so you guys can check it out yourself, you know? Give me just a second. Yeah. Sorry for your guys' loss, man. Sorry for your guys' loss, you know. I heard the story and it just impacted me, you know what I mean? Because I come out here, this is why I started what I started now. That's the reason why I'm an auditor. That's the reason why I film the cops. That's the reason why I do this, because of this kind of stuff, you know. And I experienced it in South Central, bro, a lot. And a lot of these cops that be out here on this division over here on this side, East Load or whatever, they transfer them. They transfer those guys to the department over there to Century,
Yeah, and
to
then it
content,
spreads.
and they plant a seed over there to the other officers, you know, like the other deputies that, you know. But check out my YouTube channel. I'm on live right now. Check it out, bro. You see what I do,
You have a
man.
brother that's a Hebrew?
Huh?
You have a brother
Yeah,
that's a Hebrew?
yeah. He has a beard.
What's his name?
Thank you. They talked about my brother, guys. Check it out. Look. Here you go.
Thank you. I appreciate
Check it out,
it.
man.
Thank you.
Here you go. Check it out for yourself. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Les digo a mis vecinos, así es que les ando
Yeah, look at this right here.
Ya ven, los quiero mucho, desde allá vengo a barrerles. Bien, gracias a Dios, aquí andamos. ¿Mande? Sí, no alcancé.
Can I just snatch you a bear real fast? I want to get your way. Sorry. Thank you.
Yeah.
How you doing, man?
All right, man. What's your thing?
South Central Audit, man.
All right.
Oh, I heard of you.
I'm that guy.
I think I follow
Here you
you
go.
on,
You related to Eastwood's audit?
Nah.
Nothing?
Yeah,
I'm South. I was born and raised South Central. I know what I do with these guys. You know, only us that we go out in the street and with these guys and hear the calls and we pull up to them and they hear us. They know who we are. You know what I mean? But I've noticed that a lot of East LA, we're gonna be out here more often, bro. And they need. I hope they try it. Check out the video. You see how I educate them. And this is for the public, you know, so they can know their rights.
I'm part of several overlapping groups in the Second Rainbow Coalition. One of them is people that were frontline workers, like nurses and EMTs,
Yeah.
and firefighters and stuff, and social workers back in 2020. And we all got kind of radical and started working under the New African Black Panther Party.
Yeah.
They're like a lead organization. And we're trying to create a network of community defense and support, including medical supplies, like for ambulance, and like trying to create a people's ambulance service and stuff. Like kind of what the Panthers are doing in Chicago with their people's support services pending revolution, survival services pending revolution.
Yeah, my boy covers the homeless. He has bags of clothes in his car, in the trunk of his car. He sees the homeless, he needs something, he gives it to him. Here you go, bro. You know? And me, though, I film the cops. Like, that's what I love, bro. And then whenever street vendors get attacked, I pull up to street vendors and people that get attacked with street vendors, you know?
Yeah.
A lot of people that wasn't informed. Dude, I wish I knew what I know now 3-4 years ago, bro. I wish I knew. You know, it becomes a different way of going about things now, you know? Like, my advice I tell to everybody now. My advice, what advice do you tell the people? What's the thing that helps everybody nowadays? The videos, the recording. Record everything. You see the cop that's right there, record his ass. You know what I mean? Let him know what it is. Let him know that you aware what's going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
So,
for sure.
did you write their name on the list? All right, cool.
My role with the minister for the White Panther.
Just keep it professional, right? Keep it professional. You know, we talked about it a lot of time. Let's just keep it real civil, you know, real professional. Send the message right, you know what I mean? We're not trying to send the wrong message, trying to send the message direct, you know? Yeah, but see, this is the thing. With the public knows that we're here. So we vote for them guys. So they got to know that they're here sitting down. People, they've been heard now. You know, and this is the thing that it shouldn't take this many years, bro.
Yeah, I know.
That's the gap that the thing got to be like. It shouldn't take this many years just for. You hear the stories from 2020, 2021, like, oh, it went 2023. Like, you let them sit there around for so long, with pain, eager than with pain.
Yeah.
Like that's crazy, bro.
So I'm gonna tell them on the start
Yeah.
as normal citizens.
You got Instagram?
Yeah.
Instagram. Go to Instagram.
Uh-huh.
I'll show you. Hold it, Perito. Yeah.
What's yours called?
Go to South Central. Central. Audit. AUDIT.
Sweet.
Go ahead, right there. Now go to my page.
Yeah.
That's me right there.
All right, man. I'm
To me, man, you see what I do, bro. Like I'm about supporting my street vendors. Street vendors get attacked.
You're the one who's been posting about the
Yeah,
street vendors.
I'm that guy, bro.
I think I emailed you. That's me with the. This is me with the chairman of the New African Black Panther Party.
I think you probably messaged Alex and Amorado.
Yeah, I said I wanted.
I'm the guy that films. Like, I'm the guy that goes out there and pull up to the scene. Like, find you where you live at, find your location where you work at, expose you, bro, and let it know what it is, you know. So your ass, on the next person that thinks about messing with a street vendor, you better think about it, because you're gonna catch like us coming up to your door. And, hey, what you messing with the street vendor for? What's wrong with you?
How do you know where to be and when?
You know, public information. Like I said, when you have a bond with the community, bro, this is the thing about it, bro. When you have a bond with the community's gonna bond with you. They're not gonna talk to you how they talk to them.
Right.
They're not gonna talk to them how they talk to us.
It's all about the relationships. And
the relationship you build within the community, bro. That's what it's about.
Intercommunal revolutionary love.
So, man. So that's why I come here, man. Do my thing.
Hey, I've been following you, dude.
Nice to meet you, man. Story mentioned, you know. Sorry to hear that, but damn, it was real touching, bro. Like, you know, that's what I did, and this is why I started doing it. Like when I started filming the cops, you know, it was because of that, you know, shit that was going in my side of town in South Central, like that type of shit. And a lot of fools that were right here, bro, they transfer them over there to Century and Compton, and they place that seat over there, bro, to be like, that's what it is, you know. And bro, that's when I started doing it. You remember when I started these laws? You know, this, and when I started, bro, it was like, damn, what can you do? How can you start? Starting is like coming out here, bro. It's like, cause I'm gonna tell you something, bro. That little kid Ryan, who just started, bro. He put his a name on his craft. Like, this is what I want to do, bro. And that's, to me, though, it's badass. But it tells you with the community, bro. Hell yeah. It's not easy. Like I tell, like, dude, we get target, bro, out there. I know they know me.
We need everyone to take their seats, please.
Yeah, they do that.
I
went through that. Bro, you want to jump in the car? Look, we're going to that side of town. You sure you want to get out right there?
Public comment, so we can get everyone's.
Got you, man.
Take your seats,
You give him a
so
stick?
that we can be respectful of everyone else who would like to make a comment. Thank you, Chuck.
Okay, so we're going to start public comment. Before we do that, I just want to clarify that the recommendations that we've been talking about, those come from us, the Civilian Oversight Commission. Our special counsel gave recommendations that the sheriff is considering. Those are actually come from Supervisor Solis, and someone was upset about a rotation recommendation. I just want to say, like, our special counsel recommended that deputies be rotated from stations after a number of years to prevent this clique gang mentality where people who are together for long periods of time, start to formulate these groups, and as a strategy to break down those groups, they recommended a rotation. That said, the public comment about getting rid of deputies who are gang involved and hurting people is well taken. We're going to
Thank you.
We're going to have public comment now. This is our first town hall, and experience is always the best teacher. You know, I'm a teacher. You live and learn. Obviously, 2 hours is not enough, and we had this until 12 o'clock. But It's very graciously been extended until 12:30, so I'm gonna take as much public comment as we're gonna take as much public comment as we possibly can, and if it's not enough, we're gonna just come back some other time and take it again. Because we really appreciate the direction and guidance and really reminding everyone on this commission what we're really here for. Hearing those stories is deeply humbling. So if people could try to keep it at 2 minutes, I'm not gonna be an enforcer. It's much appreciated. I said I'm not gonna be an enforcer, and we're gonna go as long as we can.
And I will just note also that the town halls are not just an optional part of these recommendations. There are 27 recommendations. The town hall commitment is number 14, right at the heart of all 27 recommendations. So the town halls will continue. And if you know people who want to take advantage of the town hall commitment throughout the county, we will have more town halls up the road, and we can schedule those town halls where people want to hold them. So let's build on the town hall commitment and the recommendations, and let's make sure that the stories get on the record as part of the commitment passed by the Board of Supervisors on the 7th of March. Thank you.
So Jennifer?
Our first speaker, Rosie Segundo, followed by our second speaker, Ryan.
Hello, my name is Rosie Segundo. I'm an activist. I have been around for a while. It's been decades that I've seen the sheriffs in action. First of all, in the walkouts, I walked out of my high school. And there, I saw them in action, beating up on my co-students, pushing me around, pulling my hair. You know, these are horrible things that I went through. Then after that, the Chicano moratorium. Again, gas, beating up, shooting. I know people that got shot during that day. Now, I want to stop to this. Our young men are scared to walk the streets. They're scared. I know a lot of them that don't want to walk out the streets by themselves. Now, they can be accompanied by their friends because, congregating as a gang member or whatever, it's bad. But no, in the sheriff department, it's okay. That's ridiculous. The sheriff that killed several young men, he's called a Terminator. He got a status in the sheriff department for doing that. And a lot of them have done that. In order to get a name, to get known, they kill, they harm, they beat up on the young men from our community. And they have incarcerated hundreds and thousands of them since they were juveniles. So this is why I'm here, and I'm gonna stay here. And I'm supporting all the families that got killed. That their sons, their family members got killed. So I want Mr. Luna to fire the sheriffs that are in the gangs. There's markings on them, there's tattoos on them, so they have to be out. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker, Ryan, followed by Paula Yanez, followed by Alika Valdez. And the two speakers who will be waiting to speak could come up to the front and wait behind the person who's speaking. Thank you.
All right, so first I just wanted to address, where is Max? Max didn't make an appearance back out. You see, I was originally here to share with y'all what I do and the importance of it. In a nutshell, I will. You see, I film law enforcement and hold them accountable. Shout out to my boy South Central who put me on this, And I encourage all of you to get out there and film them too, because once that camera comes out, it holds everybody accountable. We can't rely on these people no more because the only thing we have is one another. They don't give a damn. And don't be fooled, this whole system is a game. This system is a game that continues to oppress the oppressed. Look at the statistics on law enforcement in LA. They stop black and brown people at 5 times the rate of white people. And who do you think they find something illegal on at a higher rate? Not the brown or black brothers and sisters, the white people. And the reality is that the system is a big game against people of color. Every encounter I've had with law enforcement out on the street, when I show up for the community, I encounter another brown or black brother or sister getting their rights violated, getting harassed, or getting held at gunpoint. You should know this, James. You used to to work for law enforcement yourself, didn't you? And I had this whole speech, but y'all caught my attention, so I wrote a new one. 5 out of 6 of you today right here are white. So therefore, you cannot possibly understand the pain and suffering of the families or the discrimination we people of color go through on a day-to-day basis. I see some of y'all with blank faces like you, James, and your goons next to you. Like you, Luis. You know, you guys making it seem like you guys got somewhere better to be, and that's the problem with y'all coming into our communities thinking you know what's best for us. You want to know what's best for us? Defunding the damn bigots and reinvesting in the community. Not no transfers or none of that shit. Y'all hear this out. Law enforcement are modern day terrorists that terrorize the brown and black people of our communities on a day-to-day basis. And in no time they will take another one of our lives if we don't take initiative. And that's sad because the reality is that these people work for the system that is in place to go against our people. So tell us now, how many cops have y'all held accountable? Because y'all haven't done shit, and I can tell y'all now, all the cameras are watching. Do something to not make yourself look like that. And to all the sheriffs that are watching out here, catch us in the streets off. We're gonna hold y'all accountable. Think twice before fucking with our people. We ain't backing up no more. This is community accountability, and it's sad enough that the community has to come together on their own time to protect our people. Because y'all can't do it. And to Luna, who didn't show up, remember my fucking face. When you look back at this video, fuck you. This is green hat audits for the community. And don't be faking no damn tears. Come on, man. Don't be faking no damn tears, Sean. Because you don't have it in you to ever be able to truly understand what we go through. You're privileged. Each and every one of you sitting up there are privileged. You know, you ain't fooling nobody. And to the families out here, much love and my condolences to all of you. I will do the best to hold these people accountable by filming them in the streets and being out there for our people. You know, tune in with people like SGB, with PLA, with South Central Audits. Know your rights, and we got to come together as a community to film the police, because you think these people are going to do anything? They ain't going to do shit. They've been standing up here and they just here for the pictures. He's just fake crying for the video. You know, do some shit. Hold them accountable. And y'all heard this. Look at the time again. Like I said, do something. Yeah. No, thank you. And your privilege.
Our next speaker is Paula Yanez, followed by Hilda Solis, followed by Carlos Montes.
My name is Paula Yanez, and I grew up here in East Los Angeles. My name is Paula Yanez, and I grew up here in East Los Angeles, not far from here. And I still live here, well, near here. I live in Pearl Heights now. But I've always worked in this community. This has been my home, my community where I have worked and served. Been a community advocate, Girl Scout leader. Also, I worked for the County of Los Angeles as a social worker, Girl Scout leader. I had a Girl Club when I was 18 years old. When I got out of high school, I worked in the Brooklyn Avenue School. I went to elementary school as well. So the reason why I'm here is I'm here to support all these families that are here that have lost a loved one due to the violence that has been caused by the sheriff. This is not something new. This has been going on since the 70s, since I was growing up when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, throughout my life. Also, I had 2 brothers that were killed, but due to violence, due to gang violence. But the way I see it, it was not the youth's fault. It was because our system that we have had perpetually created a system of incarceration, has created a system of incarceration by our sheriff departments who are actually gang members. When I was growing up, we knew in the 1970s that there were gang members within the sheriff's department, and they still exist today. It was known by everybody, and they always instigated. I remember my brothers and even my students, because I worked with students in high school, they would tell me that the sheriffs would pick them up, they take off their shoes, and they would go drop them off in another person's neighborhood so they could walk and create violence. Instead of trying to build bridges to prevent violence, that never happened. And that's why I'm here today also, because we need programs in our community. We need education. Instead of putting money into budgets for the police department, we need to invest that money for our youth, instead of having them incriminated and spending a life in jail. Because they're youth, and because our system incriminates them, they go from the juvenile system, they go into the state system, and then they go into the federal prison. And they just rob a person of their life. And the trauma that I suffered, and my family, and not only us, but our whole community, because when you lose one person in your community, it affects everybody. In our whole community, in our schools, in our churches, it has a profound effect forever. My brothers died over 40 years ago. Not only my brothers, my 2 neighbors who were brothers,
My neighbor down the street, Dennis, and my neighbors on the next block, they were all killed. And why? Because we were perpetuating a community of violence. We want people incarcerated. We want to support a criminal justice system to make profit of our youth and families incarcerated. That is totally wrong. And we need to invest, Mrs. Solis. We need to, Mrs. Solis, we need to invest in our communities. We need to invest in programs. We need to be creative. We need to give them education, childcare, and to give our families, our mothers, our fathers, our single mothers and fathers, we need them to give them support. And we know who is in trouble because our school system knows who's in trouble. So there's a lot of things that we can do to make our communities better. And we need to build bridges with all our agencies so that we can really have thriving communities. And we could have a community that is non-violent. And we need to get rid of the damn sheriffs because they are the true criminals. Okay. And they true are the criminals. And we need to dismantle this system of criminalization and find a way so that we could solve solutions instead of criminalizing our communities. Yes.
Thank you.
Hello, ma'am. I have a funeral I'm going to go to because I'm for a comrade, so it's okay if I throw in my 2 minutes so I can get to the funeral? My name's Robert Strong. I'm one of those.
Nobody speak.
I can speak. Okay, all right. Go ahead. Be a few minutes later.
Hi, my name is Alika Valdez. So, why are we here today? Why? Because of the LASD gangs, okay? So, what I want to say is, when we should invest in a community, in our youth, make bridges, but not invest in corporations, then why do we see LASD gangs trying to be the real gangs when we should be the real gangs? Why? Why should we turn each other against us like this? Why? So, you know what I'm gonna advise to all the citizens not in our levels? This is what I'm gonna say. No more meetings, no more waiting, no more signing, no more courthouse date, no more courthouses. I will let the community decide what they want to do this time, not the supervisor, nobody. Us citizen Angelinos. I'm here from 10 o'clock right now. Any discrimination from the LASD gangs, we will decide. No, none of the guys will ever decide. We're gonna come up. We're gonna do professionally all. No more courthouse. Nothing. We're gonna let us decide. Nobody else. We're gonna do it our way. Anything that's discrimination from now or 10 o'clock and any time, any day, any year, we're gonna let them out. We're gonna terminate them. This is what we're gonna do. We're gonna decide. We're gonna vote. Not anybody from any local or federal government agency. I will decide. I will vote. I'm gonna let these guys vote, not you guys, not anybody in the government. Because this is why I'm here. I'm from Hawaii as well. Because you guys heard of me. And Hawaii is also targeted. Did you know that police brutality has been going on, like I said, for almost 200 years? We're gonna end that. We're gonna decide. Look at New Jersey, period.
Thank you.
Our next speaker, Carlos Montes.
Good morning. My name is Carlos Montes. I grew up here in East LA. Can you hear me all right? I graduated from Garfield High School. And, as a youth, faced harassment by the sheriff just for cruising. Even as an adult, for my activism, I faced political repression. And I'm here I read the special counsel report last night. So I'm here to say that I supported Central CSO. I'm a member of Central CSO Community Service Organization who advocated for the families, who demanded prosecute killer cops. We supported Measure A. We went door to door to say we got to get rid of Villanueva and support Measure A. So I know it's a hard job, a hard task. You know, the Civilian Oversight Commission doesn't have a lot of power, so we believe in stronger civilian oversight. We believe in community oversight of the Sheriff's Department. That's what we're fighting for. So we're here, yes, absolutely. Community control of the police. It's a demand that we've been fighting for since the 60s, right? But again, deputy gangs need to be, the word you use is eliminated, but I've heard other people say eradicated. I think, did you say eradicated or eliminated? They need to be prosecuted, they need to be terminated, so there's many recommendations. Yeah, no, I mean, working with them, you know, many of these folks are allies and they're advocating. If you read the special counsel report, it talks about eliminating the deputy gangs and the cliques. So I'll just wrap it up. A lot of people have said it, a lot of things like support the families for coming out and speaking out and supporting the community. Now, just in closing, I just will say that this is a systemic racist problem of the killing of young Chicanos, Latinos in our community. Not only in East LA, but throughout the Southwest, and blacks, of course, right? So we're up against a monster. We organize it against it. You know, Tino Torres did a good job of highlighting the struggle of the Chicano movement in the 60s, 70s, etc. So we need to expose it as systemic oppression of Chicanos, and thank you very much.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Robert Strong, followed by Peter Chris Ricard, followed by South Central Audits.
Yeah, my name is Robert Strong. I worked for 10 years in the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health. There's a lot going on in the blogosphere lately about how we need to replace police showing up with mental health workers showing up. Let me tell you where the holdup is with that. Let me tell you where the broken link of the chain is. I worked for 10 years for the Los Angeles County Department of Mental Health, and I got so tired of telling my supervisor, I'm not going to send the cops to do welfare checks on our client. If the canteen's available, I'm not going to send the sheriffs to bust in their doors and to terrorize our clients and to sometimes kill them, to saddle them with an ambulance bill for $400 when they didn't ask to be hospitalized in the first place. I continue to speak up about the police brutality I saw, and I would get written up about it every time. The sheriffs pressured Los Angeles County HR to fire me. I was fired last November for whistleblowing racist abuse within adjacent county organizations, the Sheriff's Department, and DCFS. There needs to be civilian oversight over the Department of Children and Family Services, which penalizes poverty and terrorizes families of color. But as long as people like me, supposedly the good guys, right? We're the people that you want to show up instead of the cops when your cousins are having a nervous breakdown, right? Because they're dealing with trauma from what cops have already done to their friends. But when people like me want to do our jobs, we get fired. The sheriffs started stomping on me. One of the first big things to fall was when a friend of mine, Vishal Singh, an independent journalist, got photographic evidence of the Tri-County Sheriff's Conference in 2019. There was actually a kiosk of the 3%ers. You guys know who the 3%ers are? The 3%ers are a Christo-fascist militia that is pledged to destroy communities of color, to abuse our LGBT comrades. And the Sheriff's Department is actively working with these guys. It wasn't just that they were present at the Tri-County Conference. I'm going to finish. It wasn't just that they were present at the Tri-County Conference. The sheriffs allowed them to put up a kiosk and an information booth so the sheriffs could work with it, just like the Proud Boys. And every time I spoke out about that, I got written up until that staff write-ups got higher and higher. And now they can't find mental health workers, right? You see the articles in the LA Times, it's hard to find frontline workers anymore. It's because they keep getting rid of people like me that are trying to do their damn job.
All right. Followed by South Central Audits, followed by Adriana Quinones.
Good afternoon. Okay, I want to just begin please accept my condolences, all of you.
because it's very disturbing to finding out how all these brothers and sisters have been killed and should not. Probably that's where we should start, by retraining the police department, the sheriff's department. And I have a big question about the oversight commission. What is what they're accomplishing? What are the results of your investigations? Is something being done? Now, we definitely need to implement laws that are meaningful, because obviously nothing is working out, it's working against us. We need to, like I was saying before, hopefully they will retrain the sheriffs and the police department. And the unions need to be held accountable. And for some reason or other, we need to see more brown people also in the oversight committee. I don't know how it's done, but we need to be there. Our experiences need to be told. And we need to be part of. We don't feel like we're part of. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, South Central Audit, followed by Adriana Quinones, followed by Sandra Chavez.
How you doing, committee? My name is, I name myself Good Citizen, the company South Central Audit. I'm here in the streets for the people. I'm for the people. This is what I do. This is what I love to do. I come out here, bro, and film the cops. I hold you guys accountable. I pull up to traffic stops. I pull up to all scenes. My recommendation to all the people that's here, guys, always record the police.
Yes.
If you guys see them, you guys record them.
Yes.
They're not gonna be held accountable when the camera's watching.
Yes.
It hurts me, bro, all the stories that I heard. I'm pretty sure East LA has a lot of attention.
Yes.
You guys are gonna get a lot of attention now.
Yes.
All this story that's going on right here, bro, there's gonna be a lot of people watching.
Yes.
We're gonna be more in the streets right here in East LA, specifically, bro. And I hope you, Kennedy, do something about it. I hope you're listening to the people. Remember something, man. All you guys work for the people. If you guys don't want to work for the people, if you guys don't want to listen to the people, don't work for the people.
Exactly.
Remember that. Hilda Solis, I know you probably left, and I know you left, but I'm going to still address you, even though her seat is missing. Pay attention to the people.
Yes.
You grew up around here, she should be here. You know what I mean? Listen to the people, bro. I'm not from this city, but I love the people. The people call me, the people tell me what it is, and this is what I'm going to do it for. Please, people, please record the police. If you see the cop in the city, if you see whatever cop is done, record his ass.
Yes.
Trust me, they will think about it. And do me a favor, man, do not be transferring cops to other departments, because they take that bullshit ass gangbanging mentality to another department, and they plant the seed to another goddamn trying to be a good cop. Let me tell you something, man. I have a lot of videos on my YouTube channel, and I'm not hard to find. I see this cop, as soon as I bring them up on the street, like, oh, you bandito, you can see it in their face that they're shocked, that they hear me. So I address you, man, committee, pay attention to what's going on. Us, the people, will be in the street a lot more. Remember that. Remember my face. Don't be surprised if I go to you guys' office and pay you guys a visit for not doing nothing. Remember that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll remember it.
Our next speaker, Adriana Quinones, followed by Sandra Chavez, followed by Marquise Laughlin.
Good morning, commissioners and audience. My name is Adriana Quinones, a resident of Hacienda Heights. Thank you, Supervisor Solis, for asking the Oversight Commission to do community outreach. The Oversight Committee meetings need to be done on Saturdays and at the different supervisory areas. Please don't forget the San Gabriel Valley. I grew up in Loyal Heights. When drive-by shootings were done on a regular basis, police brutality was normal. After video cameras, things started to change. Now we work closely with industry sheriff's department, in my opinion, the best. We need to not put band-aids on the different issues that we have. We need reform in all areas, criminal justice, LA Sheriff's Department, and so on. The sheriff needs to have town hall meetings and listen to the community. As a community, we need resources for crime prevention, have partnerships with schools, parents, after-school programs, parenting programs. And also something that very important that I learned is there's a form that you turn into the sheriff's department if you have someone in your house with a mental condition. And that's very important for us to know as a community, because that way when you call in, they can go in with resources. But I also want to I'm so disappointed in so many levels, at the Oversight Commission, at the Board of Supervisors, the Sheriff's Department, and it's because it takes a whole lot of puzzles, a whole lot of pieces to bring a puzzle together. The community has never been part of all these proposals. I recently had a situation where someone with a mental condition was really bad, and we called the police, and they couldn't do anything because in order to take advantage of the 5150, someone has to be a threat to themselves or to their loved ones. If that is not in the picture, there's nothing the family can do. And even when we have to lie in order to take advantage of the 5150, they're only held for 72 hours, and then what happens after that? So we need to start changing laws so that we can have some help for people with mental conditions. And also, let's start reforming the Sheriff's Department. Not only the Sheriff's Department, but I was under LAPD when they used to take us into the alleys and beat us up. So I have also been a victim, well, my family has a victim of drive-by shootings where my cousin was killed.
Thank you.
Nobody's talking about gangs. Let's talk about that.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Our next speaker is Sandra Chavez, followed by Marquise Lofton, followed by Michelle Fontaine.
Thank you. I want to commend you, Mr. Kennedy, and everyone here for coming and listening to the stories and the suffering and the pain of the parents and the family. However, I just want to share something about the Codes Commission. I'm sure each one of you probably know about it. The Codes Commission, Judge Cole came to our community in, I believe, in 1990, and he traveled all over LA County hearing the complaints regarding the sheriff, regarding the mistreatment. Now we're talking many years now, and there's nothing that we could say that happened with the Codes Commission. Now you guys are created now again, and I'm concerned about many of our residents and and the people that are getting killed. Paul Reyes, he's my granddaughter's fiance's cousin. His grandmother, Irene Gomez, she died, Garcia died 2 weeks ago. She would have been here today. If she was alive, she would have been here today. And you want to know what her quote is? In the newspaper and in the news, they killed my grandson like a dog. Irene Garcia stated that. And the pain of these parents, what they're going through. And my understanding that now you're creative, what are we going to do? We could send a man to a moon, and we're still figuring this out 50 years later. Okay. And it's snowballed to where it is right now. I just pray that something comes out of this committee and the senators and Congress. It has to be a team effort. It cannot just be your committee. And I hope and pray that something gets resolved out of this. And it's horrible because we don't know who's going to get killed tomorrow. Is it going to be my grandson? I don't know. We don't know who's going to, is it going to be my neighbors? And I pray to God that you get a parent that lost her kid through the sheriff's department shooting up there, because we need to see parents up there too, not just you.
Appreciate that, SGB. Appreciate that, my boy.
But come on, let's get a parent, a hurting parent that could be part of your team.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Marquise Lofton, followed by Michelle Fontaine, followed by Deborah Ashram.
Good afternoon. My name is Marquise Lofton. I'm here to speak about deputy gangs in South Los Angeles Station, also in the East Los Station. You have the 3,000 boys, the 3,000 floor deputies. You have the Banditos, you have the Vikings, you have the Grim Reapers.
Executioners.
And they only want to work at East Los, South Los, and Compton stations. They won't work in the Marina Del Rey station because that's the rich black folks area. They won't work in San Dimas station. They won't work in the Diamond Bar station, Walnut station. They only want to go to stations where there's minority, black, and brown youth. My wife works for the county. I've been married to a Latina for 26 years. I have 5 biracial kids. So I experienced both sides of it. I'm on parole. I just got out of jail. And the Los Angeles County Jail, Men's Central Jail, is unsafe, it's cruel and unusual punishment.
Shut it down!
And it needs to be shut down. You got piss, feces, and urine coming through the ceilings on every floor. The water is gray. The water is contaminated. Come on, they got it filtered. The water is contaminated. You can let the water sit in a cup out the sink right there for 5 minutes, it's gonna stay gray. You understand? They sell them one top ramen soup in the county jail for $1.36 a piece. $29 for a case of $5 soups that we will pay for on the street. And Lee Baca's daughter is alleged to own it, the chief commissary. This stuff is so wrong. You have to, and it starts when these recruits get out of the academy. Because when they go to county jail, they have to work there 2-3 years in the county jail. So they're embedded with the old deputies that when they get pulled off the field in one of the station locations, they have to go back into the county jail because they can't be out on the street. So then now they're recruiting even more banditos and 3,000 boy deputy gangs.
Thank you.
This stuff is wrong. And they need to be addressed. And the Men's Central Jail need to be shut down.
Shut it down.
You got cameras in there, and they still got blind spots. They have multiple places where they beat you up. They're violating ADA rights. I have multiple sclerosis, MS. So when I go to the county jail, I gotta get an interferon shot, Q weekly. That's $1,000 a week. They don't want to give it to me. They make me fight for it. I done called Max Hummon office 20 times, emailed his office. No response.
Oh, that's
Ineffective leadership.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Deborah Ashton, followed by Anthony Robles, followed by Vanessa Perez.
Hi, my name is Deborah Ashline. I own a business in East LA. I do a lot of voter outreach. I have 2 questions. The first question is, last year when I was trying to get out the vote, I had a lot of people responding saying, we vote to elect a new sheriff, we vote to elect new officials, nothing changes. So I want to know how I can continue to do my job. My second question is more specific. I was able to observe for a few days of the Vargas trial. Many things disturb me about the trial, but one thing has been really bothering me. There was a witness, she was a sergeant named Sarah Rodriguez. She's now a lieutenant for LA Sheriff's Department, and she had been the direct supervisor of Nicholas Perez and Jonathan Rojas, who murdered Anthony Vargas. And they asked her if she knew about a use of force incident where Deputy Perez had killed another civilian in 2019, and she said no. And so that's inconceivable to me. I feel like either she was perjuring herself under oath, or she's incredibly bad at her job. And if she was incredibly bad at her job, the consequence was she's now a lieutenant in internal affairs. She was promoted to the agency that investigates the sheriffs. And so my question is, if those are the people that are investigating the LA Sheriff's Department, how is it possible they even could ask us to let them consider their request to self-police themselves, to do their own investigation of the gangs? Because that is just so incredibly cynical that it's been bothering me all week. Thank you.
Thank you. Our next speaker, Anthony Robles, followed by Vanessa Perez,
I
followed
don't
by
want to talk a
Leticia
little bit, but I
Vasquez.
just want to tune you guys in for a little bit on what it is, you know what I mean? But we'll be out here in the city more, guys. We are going to be out here in the city a lot more, man. Trust me. This city's going to get that attention, guys.
Anthony Robles. Our next speaker, Vanessa Perez, followed by Leticia Vasquez.
And I think that's going to have to be it.
She's our last speaker.
I wanted to speak to Hilda Solis as well.
She's not here anymore.
Okay. And I just want to say, where is the justice when the deputies have become professional criminals? The intent to use excessive force
Yeah, I
to the
watch
point
it
of
too,
near
bro.
death, then they have the capabilities to
Come up here
document
with
what
the
happened
feel like going
and make
on,
it
you know
look
what I mean? It's like all that shit.
justifiable on
That shit
paper.
not cool, bro.
This is called
That's a touch. You need
premeditated
to come over there
by professional criminals through all Los Angeles County sheriffs.
all of Figueroa, bro.
These deputies get away from what they have done to our kids because criminals say what they want to make sure they get away with it.
I seen that. I seen the picture.
But they have just done videos, surveillance disappear,
This shit is so crazy, bro.
and the only thing left is the words of these deputies who have learned how to document their crimes.
Give me the DNA.
Instead of prosecuting these professional criminals, you're putting them in our kids' schools.
They call me South Central Audit, right?
Aldana, who works in Nogales High School. He's the deputy that beat my son, and now he's at my daughter's high school. Who's protecting my daughter?
Yeah, that nigga Max.
Well, you guys are protecting him.
I should have been here. He was
Terminated from Nogales High School. I can't stress that enough.
To the county jail. I was in the wheelchair.
But he needs to be terminated, all of them do. And then, she had said something about her recommendations, I think it was number 20 and 22, about having the captains notify the deputies involved in force incidents. The captain of industry sheriff was at my court arraignment for their training order supporting Aldana. So, why, it doesn't make no sense. He's there to support this attempted murderer and support him to be at my daughter's high school. So that kind of echoes on what the ladies before me. All right, thank you.
Thank you.
On the little side. On the official side or on the flowers? On the shop? On the what you talking about? Over the side.
And I apologize, I don't know all the recommendations, actually, I don't know them, because I don't know where to find them on the
That's
website.
7-7.
But do you guys have a recommendation to not allow police officers to witness the autopsies of their loved ones when they've either committed the crime or investigating the crime? My son, and I think a lot of us impacted families, the officers are standing witness during the autopsies.
Hell yeah, SGB and Bali's are shares right now, bro.
Really changed the course of that autopsy and probably changed what the coroner's going to say. So if it's not a recommendation in your list, I ask that you guys do that, because not only did they take our loved one, not only did they murder him, back in my case in front of us, and we witnessed it all, but that's massacred, giving them the ability to massacre him again and have a joyride in their conversations while he's getting the autopsy done. If anyone had to be there, it was me. I brought him to life. They shouldn't have the right to be there. Son cut up in pieces, their scalp removed down, and then have the ability to talk about it and laugh about it later. I really strongly ask you to please put that as a recommendation. And when I ask why do cops have the ability to plead the fifth, when anybody has the ability to plead the fifth, all that is saying is that they're afraid of self-incriminating themselves because they are guilty. They are guilty of doing what they've done, and they don't want to continue to allow someone to point the finger and say, yes, you're guilty, you know you did it, and you cannot look at the person in the eye. They know they did it, and any cop, any person that does that should not be allowed to, especially cops.
Can't qualify you.
Thank you. I just want to say this commission is taking up the issue of the sheriffs and autopsies. Next Thursday, April 20th, at our regularly scheduled meeting, we will have the LA coroner and groups who have been studying this issue speaking. So your comments are appreciated, and we're actually going to take that up. We are over time, so I'm so sorry. We must conclude this town hall. For those who came and stayed so long, we really appreciate it, and we will have more town halls in the future. To my commissioners, I really appreciate you being here on Saturday. And to our staff, thank you for making this happen.
Louis, Sean, James, Please pay attention, boss. Please pay attention to the people, okay? I appreciate you, man. All right? So yeah, guys, concluded with the town hall meeting. And my condolences to all the family, guys, you know? Real sorry to hear. Sorry for your loss, you know? Really touching words, you know what I mean?
Thank you.
Really touching words, you know? I was really aware of what was going on over in East LA, like, because I filmed the cops in South Central, so when this came around, they want attention, trust me, you're gonna catch a lot of us in the street. That's why I told the people, and try to emphasize that to the people, always record the cops. Record them, man, and let them know what it is, you know? Check, I'm gonna give you a sticker from my YouTube channel so you can check it out. Look,
Thank you.
just type in South Central Audit, and I'm right there. I'm live on YouTube right now, so do that,
Thank
okay?
you. Thank
I
you.
appreciate you, eh?
Thank you very much. I
Okay, gracias.
appreciate all you.
Hey, bro.
Hey, I appreciate what you do, bro.
Man, bro.
I've been watching you. You be getting down, bro.
Man, it's for the people, man.
Yeah,
That's
I
when I
get
started it, bro.
down,
I started it for the people, man, because it's like they're having a voice. You know, they're having to be out there, you know. And I hear all these stories about the people, and the lesson is, bro, record it. That's the way I emphasize it on the mic. Record the cops. They can absolutely do nothing. You know, that's the accountability that's going to kick in when the camera shows up. That's what people got to do. That's the message out here, you know.
Gotta get more people to do it. Everybody should be out there with their
and
camera.
recording them, you know, and you see what I do, how I do
Yeah,
it, bro.
yeah.
A lot of people might not like it. Like I said, I'm not in Beverly Hills, bro.
Yeah, but I be nervous for you, bro. I be thinking you, I be like, man, I hope you know, you know what I mean? You know, because you be getting at them, man.
Man, I have
appreciate
to.
it.
I have to, bro.
You know what I mean?
I have to, you know, because when I started this, I didn't started it to be 50% or to have a filter in my mouth. Nah. My shit's live, no transparency. I'm gonna hold you accountable, bro. And that's what it's about. And you're gonna see different. Now they're gonna be like, oh shit, cameras are watching now everywhere.
Yeah.
And that's what we need, bro. We need more guys like us, bro, coming at the cameras, because those cameras turn off.
Yeah.
So those cameras gonna make it sound something that they're really not. My camera's not gonna make it sound like it's something that they're really not. My shit's live, give it to you what it is. You wanna watch it? Go ahead, tune in, you know?
Yeah.
They're not gonna post it up, oh, you got a guy South Central already talking. They're not gonna give me that platform. Why? Because I spread the voice amongst them. I don't care if they retaliate at me, come after me. Try it. I want you to.
That's what I be scared of. I be like, man, I hope they
I wish they try. They know who I am. They're very aware. A lot of cops, and they try to burn down my videos. Like, oh, thank you for the. What you mean, what the hell, clown? I don't even fucking know you. What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? They try to use that against the people, bro. They don't know that they incriminating people for nothing. You know, they're messing you up. You know, they're messing the people up. That's what they want to do, bro. They taught us how to fail. If you really think about the system, bro, they taught us how to fail. When the hell they taught us? When they taught us about our rights? Tell me, when did you learn about your rights? How old were you?
I learned about my rights watching you.
You see that? That's what I'm saying, bro. It's like me. How did I learn? How did I learn? You know how I learned? Getting up, educating myself, bro. I'm 42 years old. I said to myself, you know what, bro? When I fed this in my brain, it took it. Why it took it? It took it because it wanted to learn. If I wouldn't have gone to school, bro, I probably would not learn. Straight out. That's why I educate the public. And I let them know what it is, you know, record them.
And you got that just by studying the First
Amendment. That's it, bro. Studying the First Amendment, that's how I started, bro. I didn't start no other way. I started my First Amendment. I did not know nothing when I started. It's like day one, boom. The next day I went on my books. I went on Google. I educated. I started doing my research. Because they want you to fail out here. They're looking for that mistake, bro. You remember the other day I got arrested?
Yeah, I seen you.
And you seen the village that showed up?
Yeah.
I had a village that showing up for me.
Yeah.
Why? Because you got to put in the community work, bro. You got to do for the community, do something, you know? Like it's a lot of activism. Like I don't want to say I'm an activism. I'm everything. I like to do everything. I'm going to hold everybody accountable. You mess with the street vendors, you see what I do. I'm going to come after you. You mess with the street vendors, oh, I'm going to come after you, bro.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about, bro. Have you seen street vendors attack lately? No. Why? Because they think about it now. Because you guys like me, Alex and Morado, like exposing the people out there. You know what I mean? That's what it's about, bro.
I gotta brush up on my First Amendment stuff.
Man, you can do it, bro. You know, any questions, hit me up on Instagram. It's South Central, I'm there, bro. Send me a DM, bro. I'll reach out to you. You know, you have an event. Invite me, I'll pull up on you, bro. Anytime. No excuses.
I'm gonna learn that First Amendment, man.
Yeah, man, I appreciate you, man. sorry for your loss, okay? Sorry.
you so much.
You know,
Thank
I
you
do
for
this.
speaking.
Like I said, I do this for the people. I mean, this is what I do. And then, like I said, the people, man, this city needs, we're going to have a lot more auditors out here in the city of East LA. Like, we're going to be out here. I just want to know the streets, como estaban diciendo. That's what I tell the people, record it, you know? Send a message, you know what I mean? That's what it's about. We need to do this.
I think sometimes though we're afraid of all the stuff that's been going on as well to record because even people who are recording are being harassed.
Nah, but see how it changes the perspective now? Yeah. The camera. If you see the Huda, hey, what you doing over here? What's your name and badge number? Make them aware, like you're looking at them, you're paying attention, because you have to do that. That's why I address it so much for the people over here. Record a public official. They can absolutely do nothing. And that's the message, you know. Si tú los miras in tu neighborhood, if they park, go walk up to me. Hey, what's your name and badge number though? What you doing over here? Oh, you're fishing? You know, and they're gonna think about, oh shit, there's people being more aware. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right.
And send me check me out on on Instagram. Oh, it stays on to the camera. Yeah. So then, but do it like that. You know, hit me up on Instagram, TikTok, or más en Instagram. Una pregunta or anything? Send me a message. Okay, thank you.
Thank you so much.
What up? Yeah.
Yeah, it's the one I was watching this like a restaurant.
Yeah, fool. It's crazy, fool. It's just crazy.
The light stays on?
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I want him to look. Yeah, que me miren.
Oh, que te miren.
Yeah, que miren. Oh, está prendida.
Oh, that's a good one.
See that? Hey, you like some? What?
That way they know you're recording.
Thank you. Keep them cameras rolling.
You know? Can't stop, won't stop.
That's what I'm talking about. Keep them rolling.
Hey, my camera's like a crack addict, back at it.
Never stops.
I'm gonna have to hook my whole video.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, you gotta have it. That's the thing is that you can't be afraid to record the police. A lot of people are scared.
Yeah, fool, but they gotta be aware.
Get rid of that fear.
That's our lesson to the people. Like every time we come out here, even record, we gotta let the people know, like, fool, record. Yeah. Record. It's not a crime, you know? Even in front of the cops.
I'm sure people be telling you, oh, there's a cop over here. I wish you were here. Fool, you have a fucking phone. You
go record it. You sending me a message?
Yeah. People are always telling me to, oh, they're over here. You
go over there.
The thing is this, that they're afraid. So we got to get over that hump. You know what I mean? You and I, we're not afraid anymore.
Never.
Most people are. Most people are. And that's what we have to get rid of.
No lying.
Shit, fucking gimbal keeps fucking up. Look at this thing. This thing's broken.
Well, you got here late, huh?
Yeah. Like I went to sleep late last night. I was supposed to be there early, but I woke up like at 10.
Well, I went to work, fool.
Today?
I went to work. I got home late. I was around my boy Ryan, and then I got home. Went to sleep. Went to work at 6 in the morning, fool, and got out. I got out at 9:30, fool, and I boned out over here with.
Oh, you only work 3 hours?
Yeah, they pay you for Saturdays. You work half a day, and they pay you the whole day. So. But I'm about my job, bro. I'm about going to work, you know what I mean? Good looking at pulling up, though. Eagles pull up on the guys. Yeah. Eagles artists pull up on me, man. Sheesh.
Got him.
Got that angle, man. You got that angle, guys. Sheesh, wow.
Speaking too, that's
you got me? So.
I was like, yeah.
You guys tune in, guys. I'm telling you.
You're calling him bro. That's a bro.
That's